everyone, Simply Zoological here. I just want to start by saying thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a good day. Today we are back with another episode of Saguaro Sanctuary, and I do know that we have been kind of heavy in this zoo for the last couple weeks, but that's mainly just because one, I'm excited about this project that we're doing, but also I've kind of hit a lull in TVEP where the next exhibit I want to implement, I haven't quite figured out the logistics for it quite yet. But I'm hoping I can get that figured out relatively shortly. We can get back into that zoo soon. But anyways, today we are building for a saltwater crocodile. We will only have one single male, and his name is Rex. So I will get to his story in a little bit, and when I get to his story, you'll kind of understand why he already has a pre-existing name. But with that being said, I do want to really quickly note that we are currently working on his underwater viewing area. And his underwater viewing area is actually directly off of the backside of our night house. So with that being said, I will not upload this exhibit to the workshop tomorrow. I will upload it whenever we get done with the night house completely, since it still technically is a part of the night house. But I do want to note really quickly that I am extremely happy with how this nature wall came out. I am very proud of myself in kind of going into the TVEP modernist ecological style for this right here. But I add little misters and stuff, and you'll see that here in a little bit, and I'll explain more about that when we get there. But I do want to note also that his underwater viewing, water in this game does not work how you want it to. So we will just kind of skip through me making his underwater viewing area, just because I think it took me probably about an hour just for the underwater viewing itself. So in total, this build took me, I would say, probably 10 hours or so, to be honest, just in between I worked on this build over the course of 2 or 3 days, I think. And within those 2 or 3 days, I spent probably 2 or 3 hours a day working on this exhibit. And a big part of it was honestly the interior. The interior, which you're seeing right now, is it took 1 day total, and then the rest of his actual exhibit took another day or so. But right now I'm just going around the nature wall with some temple pieces, and at first I was intentionally leaving these more that black charcoal color like in the night house, but I do go in and change that because I add a wall right here with a door for guests to go through the door to get to the underwater viewing. So that way this feels completely separate from the night house. Even though it's in the same building, when you walk through, it's a totally different atmosphere. And so I do go in and change the black to more of a mossy kind of color and everything, and I jumped through that, so you'll see that here in a little bit. But right now I am adding in some misters, and I spent probably good 2-3 minutes alone trying to figure out what I actually wanted to use, because I originally planned on running water back behind the plants, but I didn't really like how it turned out. So I decided on going with more of a mister effect. And so my inspiration for that was actually when I was a little kid. The house we lived in growing up, it was because I'm originally from Texas. It got super hot in the summers, and we would be outside playing all day long. So my parents, they put up it's what you call a mister hose, and it's just this black hose that has holes in it, and it just kind of sprays mist however long you want it to. Some of them you can put on timer. Some of them just you plug in and take out of the outside spigot. But that was my inspiration for this right here. And for the hose part, I'm using the European fan cables, I believe, just recolored to the charcoal color that we use in the night house. And then the misters, obviously the special effect misters, and then the walkthrough exhibit hanging basket planters, I believe, or basket hanging planter basket chains, I believe is what they're actually called. But and then I did use I've seen this trick from a couple of different creators where they use, to place things faster, they use the position snap, I believe is what it's called, in your settings whenever you have a piece selected. And that was my first time using it, and it does work a lot faster, and I will definitely start using that more often. But here, I wanted to create a little bitty step up, and you can see all the colors have changed and everything now. But I wanted to create like a little step up for like little kids, so that way they could get to step up and see Rex in his water and everything. And he doesn't actually deep dive, sadly, just because I didn't quite realize that his deep dive he didn't have enough deep water. But and I didn't realize that until after I had finished building his exhibit. And at that point, I said, I'm not taking the water out. I'm not taking the chance. So we'll just leave it how it is. But I really like how it turned out in the end anyways. And then you saw just a second ago where I added in the actual flooring that we will have in the interior of the underwater viewing area. And for that flooring, all I used was the Australian wood piece. I kind of think it may be like Australian driftwood or something like that. I really don't know. But it's just the 1 meter piece, I believe. I just use that and then just kind of overlap it with each other, so that way it creates the overlapped wood tiling effect. And then here we are working on the rocks, and I did that really quickly, just kind of skipped through bits and pieces of it. And then this is something you haven't really seen me mess with much on the channel. I know they exist. Trust me, I know they exist. I just, for whatever reason, I haven't made it a habit to use them in my builds. So I always forget that they exist, even though like subconsciously I know, hey, you should use decals. I forget. But I did go in and I added the decals you saw around where the water level would sit, and even in between the poles where the poles are holding the glass together. And then we will really quickly get into the foliage and everything. And while I'm doing this, I will go ahead and tell you how we ended up acquiring Rex. So Rex actually came to us from another zoo, and they ended up having to rehome him because he was too aggressive with their female. and they had them in separate enclosures, but he kept wanting to. He was just too aggressive with her, and it not mating wise or anything like that. It was just he was just too aggressive. So they said, "Hey, we just need to get him out of here." And so they asked us if we wanted to take him, and we said, "Sure, we'll take him." And sure enough, we did. And so we made his enclosure and everything. And now Rex can live a long and happy life all by himself because he couldn't play nice. But anyways, here I didn't want to add too much foliage because I know realistically in most crocodile habitats and even in some alligator habitats, they're very not foliage heavy, and they're more sandy and muddy and more natural basically, and not much hand planted foliage. So I went in and I just added some of the small cladding rocks with some of the bigger desert rocks on top to give that sort of more natural effect and kind of get away from all the foliage that I was going to add in there. And now we are actually planting the underwater viewing area. And as you can see for this, I used the underwater, I believe you pronounce it hydrilla plant, the underwater temple plant, and the underwater eel grass, I believe is what it's called. And for the temple plant, I did exactly what I did in the little penguin exhibit, where I just take the temple plant and I just copy it on top of each other vertically to make a really long one, and just kind of place those sporadically throughout. I make them shorter in the middle and taller on the outsides, as if the staff go in and cut the ones in the middle more often than they cut the ones on the outer rims of the underwater viewing area. But I really love how it turned out nonetheless. But anyways, it looks like we have just a minute or so before the end cinematics. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off. But I just want to say really quickly that I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you would like, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But if you subscribe, I ask that you would turn on the bell notification icon. That way you won't miss the next time I post a video. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later.